The Evermore podcast is now sponsored by WFST Total Compliance. WFST provides fire safety requirements UK-wide to prepare you and your employees should the worst happen. Do what you do best and visit wfst.co.uk today. Enjoy the episode. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a post-match reaction to one of the flattest games I think I've seen in St James's Park for a long time. But thank the Lord we got the result at the end. Newcastle United winning 1-0 thanks to a penalty by the handsome devil that is Callum Wilson. We're going to get stuck right into this in a minute. Just talk about the highlights of the match, if there was many or any really, but the win is the big thing really about today. But just before we do, a little reminder, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. We'd love you to come and join us. We're over 5,100 subs now, so if you're new to the channel, smash the button, come and join us. And if you fancy being a member as well, there's a join option down there as well. Click that. And why not have a look? Mark's got loads of little goodies for you there as a member specifically. We are live tonight, as always, so jump in the comments. Speaking of members, we've got a member, George, straight in there in the comments saying nothing succeeds like success. A bit stale for the first 25 minutes, but we started to click and move better after that. What the fuck was that disallowed first goal? Yes, I will get onto that, George, in a minute. But we've got loads of you in the comments. We've also got Les in there as well, another member. Good to see you too, Les. As I said, if you fancy being a member, click that button. It's only $1.99 a month, so it's well worth it. So let's get stuck in then. So how did we line up today? Obviously, the team sheet seem to have more leaks than the fucking Titanic, to be honest with you. Everybody seemed to know who was playing before. I think Eddie Howe knew who was playing, to be honest with you. But I don't know what's going on. That might be something that the club has to maybe sew up a little bit. But that's how we lined up. So obviously some big changes. The story was that Tonali was injured. Obviously, Joe Linton had this news about his knee injury, which isn't great. He's had to go have a surgery on a knee injury. It's a big blow for us losing Joe. An absolute machine. He's integral to how we play, but he's going to go to Barcelona for knee surgery, I think it is. So Eddie said he'd be out for at least a couple of weeks. So that's him and Joe Willock, the two Joes, which is a massive blow, really. So we saw the Geordie boys flanking Bruno in midfield in the shape of Longstaff and Elliot Anderson, and the front three that we were all crying for a long time, really, which was Gordon and Barnes either side. It was Callum Wilson this time that got the nod up front over Alexander Isak. Only one disappointing thing for the lineup for me really was I thought I'd see Lewis Hall. I must admit, I was really excited about seeing Lewis Hall in that back four. Dan Burn came in. Didn't do a bad job, to be fair, in the end of Dan Burn, but he's not a left back. There was times where he was massively exposed, which I'll get into in a minute. So I'm just wondering when Lewis Hall is going to get his game and get a sniff for Newcastle. Maybe at the San Siro, who knows? But we'll get stuck right into this in terms of the first half. There wasn't really a great deal to talk about. I mean, I was quite disappointed. I was expecting a reaction, like many of you were expecting a reaction, I think, after the debacle of the Brighton game. And I just thought we were a bit laboured. I thought we were a bit slow out the traps. I think, if anything, Brentford started better than we did. I think I said this, on our Twitter account as well, that they've got two full-backs who love to get forward in the shape of Henry and Hickey. They like to get on the ball as well in midfield. Wemba and we say are really dangerous in terms of finding those pockets of space. And I just don't feel like Newcastle pressed their game on Brentford from the start. I mean, normally when we're at home like that, we just blow teams away. I mean, obviously the war flags display was there, the noise was there, but it just seemed really quiet. I mean, if anybody was at the ground in the comments, let me know what you guys think. But certainly watching at home, it felt really quiet. It felt really flat in the ground. And I think that was replicated with the lads as well. I just thought that some of the passing was a bit laboured. It wasn't as crisp as you'd hope it to be. Anderson was trying hard, he really was, but I think there's parts of this game that you see he kind of struggled to get involved with. He looked quite lively in Brighton the first 10 minutes or so, wanting to get in the ball, make something happen. But that left hand side for us was massively targeted by Brentford, and that's what really worries me. And going back to Dan Burn as well, I just think that you shoehorn this left back a right centre half into a left back position. You've just signed one of the most exciting young left backs in the country in Lewis Hall, and he's not getting a game. Yes, I know he's not been match fit, and there's match fit and there's Eddie Howe match fit, but I was watching Brentford just steam down the right hand side, or their right and our left. And Sky put a stat up, it was 79% of their attacks was going down our left-hand side. So it's somewhere that teams are targeting, and better teams are going to come up against us than Brentford. No disrespect. I thought they set up really well today. I really like Thomas Frankie, good shape, and good players there to work hard for the team. They're decent on the ball. But it was a massive glaring hole that they targeted. And obviously without Joe Litton there to protect Dan Burn, excuse me, about Joe Willock there to protect Dan Burn as well. Harvey Barnes isn't that kind of player. I thought Harvey Barnes struggled in the first half a little bit. There was little flashes and little moments, but as the game went on, I thought Barnes really grew into the game, and obviously he plays his part in the goal as well. But we're going at half time 0-0. I think not a fantastic game. I think Hickey had the best chance for them in the first half, where he breaks through and just smashes it straight into Pope's ample stomach. To be fair, we could have really been in trouble, I think, in that first half. I must admit, it was a little bit worrying, just how flat the lads were, really. So just getting some of your comments in there as well. Got another comment there from another member, antagonising Jody. Good to see you too in the comments, mate. So what we've got, the Ziggers in there saying it's the type of game where last season we got a draw. It's a fair comment. It's good if you can not play well and win, especially with the shit ref. And I didn't even get to that. I mean, the ref was dreadful today. He really, really was. Some of the decisions he made were fucking abysmal. They really were. I mean, this is like refereeing 101, and that takes us into the second half, I suppose. Second half comes, no substitutions. We're all kind of not expecting that really from Eddie. He doesn't make many subs at halftime. Nobody was glaringly bad enough to be hooked off. The game was very on the knife edge, I felt. Very flat on the ground, as I say, very nervous in the players, nervous in the crowd. The Brentford players, you just smelt them, they kind of catches on the break or something like that. But then we start to press, we start to push on them. I think Barnes starts to get a bit more joy, he starts to get in the ball a bit more, make things happen. And then there was a cross that came in, and their keeper's made a fucking tracing paper, I think, because he goes up for this cross, he drops it. I know Mark's the goalkeeper, so he'll be sticking up for the keeper at all times. But he drops the ball, makes a complete arse of it. He kind of pinballs around into the box. Callum Wilson toe pokes it in the back of the net. He runs off doing his usual, salute celebration and everything else. And straight away, I was thinking in my head that this referee's not going to give this as a foul, is he? And he gives it as a foul. Now, I know by the letter of the law, I think Mark had said because Wilson put his hand up, but strikers always put their arms up for elevation. You're never going to stop a centre forward doing that. But their keeper was so shit. Like I say, he was made of tracing paper. It looked like he had fucking oil on his gloves or something. And he drops the ball and we get a goal disallowed. So everyone's pissed off after that. But this dodgy keeper's day was not over then. Obviously, shortly after that, almost as if karma and justice was done, a cross comes in from Barnes, which was terrible defending by Brentford, actually, even allowing Barnes to get the ball back in. The ball comes over and it bounces back into the box, and I think somebody passes it back to the keeper. And fair play Anthony Gordon, who for me was my man of the match. I thought the game was a bit scrappy, but I thought Gordon was lively. He started on the right, which he's not really started on before. He was lively. He was making himself available. He was showing that pace. He was running at people. He was making people make mistakes, and he zips onto the ball, and their keeper wipes him out, and it's a Stonewall penalty, in my opinion. Absolute Stonewall penalty, and they give it. And then obviously Callum Wilson smashes it in the back of the net. It's a really good penalty as well, to be fair, by Callum Wilson. And it just took a little bit of the sting, I think, out of the game, a little bit of the nervousness out of the game. And it's what we needed. It's what we needed to obviously just calm everybody down a little bit. But so we pushed on a little bit after that. There was another penalty claim, which would have been harsh in all fairness. Barnes heads the ball over, hits him Wembo's head, then his hand, and the ref and the VAR rightly ruled that out. So a bit unlucky, I suppose, not to get a second penalty. But if that was us, we'd be spitting and raging about that as well. And yeah, surprising enough for Eddie Howe, he only really made one sub. I think he only brought on Miggy for Harvey Barnes, who actually I thought had a really good game as well. So might see Barnes starting the San Siro. And just a side note, if anyone doesn't know, I haven't got the comments yet, but AC Milan got absolutely battered by Inter Milan today in the Milan derby 5-1. So they'll be smarting. So that's either going to go for us or against us on Tuesday when we play them in our long-awaited Champions League return. But like you say, it doesn't matter how you win it. you obviously got to win it, and 3 points was massively needed. And hopefully this will give the lads a bit of a kick up the arse really to get on. So George is in the comments there saying that VAR was poor. How was Callum Wilson fouling the wanker in goal? He folded like a deck chair. He was made out of tracing paper, as I said, George. But I think you're always going to get that. Keepers have always had protection, mate. That will never ever go away. In all fairness, I agree with you, Zig. Burn looked miles off the pace. I will say one thing for him though. 1-0 is never enough in football, as we know, against Liverpool. And I think one of their players breaks through. I think it was one of their subs that brought on, very nippy kid. And fair play to Burnley, made a brilliant tackle just towards the end with them big long legs of his. And that kind of saved us from obviously throwing away the 3 points and getting a point, to be fair. So, but I do want to see Lewis Hall very, very soon, because I don't know how much longer we can carry Dan Burn at left back. In my opinion, I think teams are definitely targeting it, and it's not good in my opinion. Joey Toonfalai saying good looking at the start of the night, and then ugly, but we've taken home a bit of ugly before. Steady on, Toonfalai. I don't hear what you're getting up to on Saturday night, mate. That's you're going too soon there, Bonnyland. We've got Kenk in the comments saying hello everyone, we win, but because the opposition forwards are incompetent. If we were playing one of the top 6, we'd lose easily. Dan Burn is not good enough. Midfield is absolutely disappointed. Forwards okay. Yeah, it's a funny one. I think it wasn't intense. I don't think the intensity was there, Kenk. And I think they even said that. I think I was watching another channel at half time, because obviously the Sky commentary is utterly shit. It's Jamie Redknapp, and Shea was there, to be fair. I love Shea, but Jamie Redknapp is one of the worst pundits going, really, really is. It's almost like a parody of himself. But they were saying that the press hasn't been as intense this year as it used to be, and I agree with that. I think last season the intensity of the press was really there. I know we're missing Joe Willock, obviously missing Joe Litton today, who are massively intense players in the press. I don't know if that was just self-evident there, but we aren't pressing as hard or as fast as we used to. I really do think we need to maybe change up the tactics a little bit, because the thing that made us so good last season, I think people have figured a lot of that out. And I think we need to kind of tinker a little bit behind the scenes. But obviously, Eddie's got the 3 points today. So, he's done what he needed to do today. Got the massive game on Tuesday in the Champions League, which we'll obviously be jumping on doing a post-match for that as well. So that'll be interesting to see how he lines up, obviously, in that one as well. Les is saying no issues with ugly, as long as the efforts are there, we get the points. That's a fair play. Malcolm saying worst performance this year by far. I don't know about that, Malcolm. I think Brighton was worse. Maybe we were fucking dreadful in that game. I know we won, but the team looks totally disjointed. Still have some way to go before we're challenging for the top. Now, I don't disagree in many ways. I was expecting a lot more from the lads, I think, than I saw today. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on Anderson. I know some people were jumping on Anderson saying he's got to take his chance, and everything else. But I thought he did all right today in spells, Anderson. I thought he was trying hard. He's got loads of energy. I think he just lacks that little bit of confidence in the key moments. Me and Mark spoke about that so many times when we're talking about Elliott. It's just, I think there was a couple of times he got on the edge of the box, and I was just thinking, do you know what? Just drop a shoulder, tuck inside, and have a shot. Why not? Just pull a trigger, test this keeper out. And he didn't. He was kind of worried, and he was looking for passes, pass. And he's not the only player who does that. But I think for Anderson, I'd love to see him just rifle one at the keeper, even if he doesn't go in. The keeper saves it. At least he's going to get a little bit of confidence there that he can do that as well. Again, Antagonize is saying that good positive result. Gordon looked comfortable on the right on the whole. I think Gordon looks brilliant in that team, regardless of where he plays. I think his energy, his endeavour, his aggression. I think he's become integral to this team, and I'll be shocked if he doesn't start in the San Siro on Tuesday night. Mark's in the admin just saying the keeper was awful. Even he can't stick up for him. Absolutely. I do agree with that. No more left backs, please. We've got 67 already. Yeah, but none of them can play, George. That's a problem. We've got Lewis Hall on the bench. I'm dying to see him play. I really am. He's just such a good player. He really, really is. Ian is in the comments saying, so can we get back to supporting the club again? But we've always supported the club, Ian, but you're entitled to have an opinion, mate, just to say when you think people are poor. And, in all fairness, they were poor last week against Brighton, so a couple of weeks ago against Brighton. Yeah, don't worry, Les. I'm not too upset that you've left me to listen to Callum Wilson. He is a very charming, handsome devil. So that is allowed. Don't you worry about that. Not one problem at all with that. We've got Callum in the comments as well saying we've done that good last season. We put ourselves in a sticky situation this season with Champions League, but I believe this is my club. I bleed black and white. Now, fair play, mate. Absolutely. We all believe. We all want the lads to do well. I mean, it's only those, hysterical hyperbolic wankers at Talk Sport that say Eddie Howe's on an edge or under pressure or it's must win. None of us were thinking this was must win, but we needed a win just to kind of kickstart a little bit of that confidence, and hopefully this is the beginning of it. We've got obviously the Milan game coming up. I've got Sheffield United at the back end of the week. I mean, we could be staring on a barrel of 3 wins in a week, and that's going to give confidence a massive shot in the arm for these lads, especially if they get one in the Champions League as well. What a great result that would be to give the lads confidence in the occasion and everything as well. So this could be a massive week for the season, and as many people have already said, we're only kind of, I think, 1 point off where we were last season. And last season was the best season we've had in 20 odd years. The Predator's saying if Hall had started, Barnes would have had more attacking threat chances, but Burn just slowed the play down constantly, wasn't quick enough to overlap, and then back in position, Hall needs to start. I could not agree any more, Predator. I am getting to the chopper with you, Bonnie lad. That is a great comment. I was watching Burn in the first half in particular, and you're totally right. He didn't just stifle Barnes, I think he stifled Anderson as well, because, we've spoken about this before. Mark's very, very quick on pointing this out when Burn plays in that left back position, even when we were doing well. Joe Linton is always covering his arse. Willock was always covering his arse. So you actually take a little bit out of those players because they've always got one eye on covering for Dan Burn if he's up against pace. And that's exactly what happened with Elliot Anderson today. And I think it affected his game a bit. I think if we had a better left back who was capable of covering with pace, I think Barnes and Anderson would have probably had better games. As it happened, I think Barnes did okay. And I think he showed flashes there of what he's all about. And I think a run of games for Barnes, some assists, some goals will massively help him as well. Ian saying need a new keeper. Well, I mean, to be fair, Pope didn't have a lot to do, Ian. He come and collected that ball really well towards the end there. That's confidence return to Pope that we need to see. I agree with antagonising. I thought he did all right with what he had to do today. Kent agrees. He thinks the defence needs Lewis Hall. He can use a ball dribble. I think when everyone's fit, our midfield will be Tonali, Bruno, Joe Linton, Barnes, Isak and Gordon. Yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, can you imagine the pace on that left-hand side with Harvey Barnes and then Hall overlapping him? That would have been all sorts of trouble. For likes of Hickey, he wouldn't have spent any time getting into our box, really, I think, if he was dealing with those two at full tilt, which is why I was disappointed that Eddie didn't start Lewis Hall. Maybe his fitness isn't there. Obviously, Eddie knows best, and we got the 3 points, so it's worked out okay at the end, to be fair. Les agrees with me. Thought that AG Pope looked more confident too. Absolutely, 100%. Down in the comments, to be fair, he criticised Dan Burn when we just had only our second clean sheet in 12 matches. Not really, Dan, to be fair. I'm criticising Burn because he's a weak link in the team. He's getting targeted. I did just praise him, actually, mate, for making a great tackle, if you heard that one. But I think he's a weak point in that team. I think that he stops the play on that left-hand side. He creates a massive beacon for teams to attack. I think Champions League teams will attack us down there as well if Burn's playing left back. And listen, I think he's a brilliant character. I think he's a great leader. And I think he's a proper, blood and guts thunder player. But we can't just let off the fact that he's slow. And his reactions aren't great, and his attacking prowess is next to zero, just because he was born in an NE postcode, mate. I think a lot of us get a little bit blindsided by that. I think he's a cracking lad, like I say, and he does offer something. But there's games where you're up against pace, and he's the last guy that I would play in that position, because we're going to get caught out, especially when you got a good left back on the bench there who's got pace and can be an attacking threat as well. Why don't we have man of the match anymore? Play with the match, Les. It's 2023, Les. It's 2023. That's all I'm going to say about that one. What else? I'm not going to put your comment up, Ian. Might get banned for that one. Absolutely. What we've got here? Yeah, Ian Toon Traders in the comment as well. Yeah, he'd be 15 men with the officials and VAR. Yeah, I must admit it was a little bit. I did wonder what was going on there with the referees and VARs, but I'm getting to the point now. I think me and Mark talk about it every week of what's going on. Every single podcaster, YouTuber probably talks about how shit the officials are. I saw one in the Championship the other day. I don't know if you saw that. Was it Friday night? Leicester and Southampton. Kid got a red card for making an unbelievably good tackle. I just could not get my head around why that was a red card at all. The state of refereeing at all levels really is just utterly shit. Cannot believe it. The man Cloud is saying, can't wait, heading to Milan, staying in the area, the tuna taking over, get in. So no, good for you, mate. You have a great trip. Jump in the comments on our post-match if you can, pal. Let us know how the game was, how the ground was, how the city was, and everything else if you can, which would be absolutely class. I was saying here, Jim's is saying Nick Pope has lost the sauce. Wilson and Tonali are good, but the rest are next level shit from last season to this madness. I mean, maybe a little bit harsh on some lads. I thought Sean played well today. I thought he grafted hard. Me and Mark are big fans of Sean. I think his work rate goes underrated. I think by a lot of people, he worked hard. He does the ugly stuff really well. Bruno was okay today. He wasn't great. Obviously loses his head towards the end, which is a worry. He should have got a free kick, hands down, but you can't go and fucking Daniel's son karate kick somebody and get a yellow card like he does. He needs to watch that temper. But he didn't grab the game by the scruff of the neck. I don't feel Bruno. There was spells where he was finding Gordon with some nice passes and stuff like that as well. But yeah, it wasn't a Bruno performance. I mean, that header was good. I think if that header goes in, maybe he grows in stature in the game. But he wasn't great, Bruno, but he wasn't bad. So maybe we've got to take the rough with the smooth. Maggot is saying, yeah, the referee should be nowhere near a football pitch. I could not agree more, mate. Adam is saying, was good to see Man U get stuffed. Was the best tweet I saw was, just to let you know, Man United are 3-1 down and Bruno Fernandes is playing centre half, and I could just feel Mark's smile radiating over his face because he fucking hates Bruno Fernandes with a passion because he's the biggest moaner in football. But I love the fact that Manchester United are self-imploding. I could sit there with s'mores over a fire and just toast them as they burn to the ground because I hate that club. And they are awful as well. So long may it burn, everybody. Long may it burn. But anyway, back to the real United. We've got Andrew in the comment there saying, hard-fought win, never gave up. Brentford, awful team to play. Do you know, I love the way Thomas Frank sets that team up. It's grit, determination, but also a bit of class and a bit of skill in there as well. You got to remember, we were playing there without Tony as well. I think they've surprised everybody with how well they've done without Ivan Toney. Ivan Toney's been linked to Newcastle. I've said this before. I think he's a bad egg. He's a great player, but I just don't like his character. I know a lot of players have egos. You look at Zlatan and people like that. But I wouldn't want the kid anywhere near the club. I think he'd be bad news. Imagine him in Newcastle City Centre. Jesus Christ. We would have just got over the Lascelles fight when we've seen him up here. What a shit he'd get up to. But I mean, the way that Frank's adjusted that team to handle the loss of a player like that has been absolutely incredible. And he said in his pre-match as well about he's coming to one of the hardest grounds in the league. So big respect for Thomas Frank. And Brentford will feel unlucky. They feel they should have left here, at least with a point. But thankfully, we're able just to kind of see it through at the end there. Clark saying Burn as well. He's not an awful player, Clark. I just think he's limited. He's limited in what he can do. And the game evolves. The game changes. Positions change. Tactics change. Everything changes. And pace and movement and the ability to go from defense to attack in a blink of an eye is a modern day wing back's job, really. You're talking about players. I mean, you can go right back. Cafu, Carlos changed the game. You've got Robertson and Trent, the way they've been doing it for years as well. This is the modern day wing back position. And we are playing a centre half at left back, and we've been getting away with it for quite a long time, probably because we've got one of the best right backs on the planet on the other end of the pitch there, who has nearly as many assists as Kevin De Bruyne. But it is going to catch up on us, and I think it's catching up on us now really slowly. So I just think that Burn needs to be that backup centre half for when Botman gets injured, and a backup left back for when or if Hall would get injured. But we need to start transitioning Hall to this team. For me, we really do. I just, I'm really excited about what the kid can do. And I know it's a lot of pressure put on an 18-year-old, but I just think he's the dogs. To be fair, he just looks absolutely classy. He really does. Nick saying that Isak scares AC Milan more than Callum. He must start. Yeah, to be fair, I think Isak will start. I think that's why he rested him. I said that in our match preview too. The Zig is saying Burn is the cause of the team. I can't even pronounce that word. My head's up full of man flu still, mate. I think I've got the fluidity on the left is awful and balances the whole team. I don't disagree, Zig. I think it is becoming a bit of a crutch, and I don't want Burn to become that player because I just think he's so well liked by the fan base, and I think it would be a real shame, if people start to turn on him, But actually, he's got such a lot of credit in the bank, Burn. But it's just yeah, you're right, Maggie. The other side of Burn is that some great tackles. I mean, but if you look at his movement as well, when we were on the attack, he doesn't peel out left, him overlap Bonds. Most of the time, he was running right through the middle of the fucking park, and I was screaming at the TV. I was going, "Where are you going?" You know what I mean? So that really spun my head as well a little bit. But from a defensive element, mate, he never loses a header. brilliant tackling. His ability to put a challenge in, and make up for that lack of pace over 10 yards is incredible, Maggot. So fair play, absolutely, mate. But yeah, I think you need more out your wing backs these days in the modern day game as well. Yeah, I'm just seeing Clark's comment there. You could be a Mackham Clark with a comment like that. I don't agree with that at all. George is in the comments saying that sorry, Ian, but he doesn't agree. We are not as fluent as we were. We have a better squad and more players, more talent. But it's they come together on the pitch. I don't disagree. With that. But we have changed a bit in the team. We have to evolve as a team as well. And I think Eddie's going to have to do a bit of that. This win is great. This win is massive for us, especially going into Tuesday. And I really do think that it's what we needed. It's what we needed to get into the Champions League with a bit of form behind us. Yeah, Andrew thought Burn was excellent today. I think excellent in parts, Andrew. Excellent defensively, but I do agree with Gordon. I think Gordon was brilliant. As I said, man of the match, absolutely for me. Man of the match. Mark's in the admin saying Cheshire Cat about Bruno Fernandes. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Man U are worse than us, Clark, to be honest with you, especially with the money that they spent. Wasn't Ten Hag moaning about how Brighton have spent loads of money earlier on? I saw a comment about that, which was the funniest thing I've ever seen. They've spent like £1 billion or something daft like that. He's such a twat. He really is. I wouldn't take Fernandes. Jay Devlin at all. He looks like a rat and he acts like a rat. I wouldn't want him anywhere near our side at all. I'd flush him down the drain, the shit house. We've got the real Bruno. He can jog on. Absolutely. Yeah. Guys saying back to the real United. the only United. Dave's in the comments saying having a brother's toffee apple victory drink. Cheers. Yeah, beautiful about Man U. Absolutely, yes, we do. I think most other fan channels will spend at least a couple of minutes talking about the implosion of Manchester United just because we all hate them, especially fans like us, on the wrong side of 40, because we grew up just despising that team because they want everything and they were such dicks about it as well. They really, really were. Maggot saying that Lewis Keane Potter came on. We should have grabbed him from all. That is the poshest name I think I've ever heard, Maggot, I must admit. When he came on, I thought he was going to ride a horse on with a top hat or something like that. That's the poshest name ever. He definitely went to a boarding school. Ain't no doubt about that whatsoever. Absolutely not. Shay in the comments, good to see you, Shay. I don't recognize your name. Click subscribe if you are new, my friend. Rested Isak and Tonali for Tuesday's game. I do agree with that. Really effective new front three partnership. Anderson got his first 90 minutes. Bags of potential. And 3 points is massive. Absolutely, Shay. 100% agree with you there. I think it was always going to rest Isak and Tonali for Tuesday. They will start Tuesday. 100%. I do agree with that. And the more games Anderson gets, the better he will be, to be honest with you. He needs games like that. He really does. I just wish he had a bit more bravery, a bit more courage, and maybe a few more games under his belt. That'll change us. I'm still asking the question, where is Louis Miley? I might start a campaign with one of them milk cartons. Where is Louis Miley? He was mint in pre-season. We haven't seen him in the squad ever since. Maybe save him for the Champions League. Maybe he'll start him in a San Siro and he'll just keep ping a 40-yard screaming off the bar or something, and then the world will explode about who is Louis Miley. Who knows? And he's got plans behind the scenes that we don't know anything about, do we? So absolutely. So we've got Ian in the comments there as well saying squad depth was what today was all about. We should think ourselves lucky that we have players like Bruno and not slag him off. I wasn't slagging him off. I just didn't think he was, at the Bruno best levels that you were maybe hoping for after a couple of good games from Brazil. But he was still good. He still did good parts, right? Halving somebody and getting a yellow card at the end is not a good thing to do, right? And I want to see less of that from him because he'll end up getting red cards again like he did against Southampton. Another comment there from John saying Dan Burn does most often look out of breath and heavy, changing direction. Time for him to be a super sub, protecting the leads for the future. Yeah, no, I think that's just Burns' style. I mean, Joe Willett looks like that as well. Johnny looks fucked after 10 minutes, but then he just puts the burners on and leaves everybody behind last Tuesday in the dust because he's an unbelievable player, a proper athlete, and we'll miss him. I can't wait to see Joe Willett back in this squad because he really does offer something that maybe a lot of us have taken for granted when he hasn't been there. Another one from Jim saying last season was fast-paced, quick 1-2 passes, taking on players constantly attacking from the first whistle. This season, we just pass it back and back and back again. Literally kills me. There is a lot of backward passing, especially today. I must admit that there was a bit of that. I think it's because of the lack of movement, Jim's, to be honest with you. And I'm not sure why that is the way it is. I mean, maybe the teams have figured us out. Maybe we need to diversify our strategies. But like I say, throwing new players in I keep saying it, someone like Hall on the left-hand side who can do what Trippier does on the right gives another threat for teams to worry about. And we're going to switch the player. We're going to go Trippier's side, Hall's side. Is Hall going? Is Trippier going? What's happening there? And I think these kind of things are what we need to bring into the team, because if it's just Miggy going down with that flamingo one leg of his and cutting back inside to either cross it or pass the Trippier, that's easy to scout. If Dan Burns getting to the halfway line and stopping and going back round or not overlapping, then that's easy to stop out. People just double team Barnes or double team Gordon or whatever. And even with Gordon's pace, you struggle to get around two players. So all these things need to be taken into account, I think, moving forward. And hopefully Eddie is going to address that. He did say in his press conference he's not going to be over loyal to players. Andrew said he thought Barnes was tripe in the first half. There was little flashes, but you're right, he wasn't good in the first half. But the second half, he grew into the game, I felt. And that was good to see from Barnes, because he was taking ownership. He was wanting the ball. He was wanting to make things happen. And obviously he led up to the goal as well. And just before that, he played his part as well in the trace and paper goalkeeper incident. So I was quite happy that Barnes grew in the game like that. And I think the more he plays, the better he'll be. Absolutely. Andrew's right. Yeah. All we need is confidence, mate. Absolutely, we do. A lot of those lads need confidence. Once you get confidence back on side, they'll absolutely fly, 100%. So a couple more comments, guys, before we shoot, because it's just going to be a quick one tonight, because Saturday night, I'm sure you've all got plans. So I'm just laughing at Ian's comment there. I'm not going to pull it up, Ian. I don't know if he is or not, mate. I'm not going to do that. But he is some great comments going on here. If Mark was here, he'd be so distracted reading these. I'm distracted, and I'm normally better than he is, but there's some great banter flying in the comments here, guys. Absolutely, 100%. What have we got here? So, here we go. George in the comments. NUFC question to the open chat. Do we think the side is better now than last year? I'll answer that. The squad is better, George, but I'm not sure that the starting 11 is, to be honest with you, mate. The starting 11 is maybe not as good as we would like. I would like to see another 2 or 3 quality players there. Sorry, Marcus just killed me with this one here. He's already done his little editing skills in the background. I tell you, the man has talent. So have you seen this lad? Yeah, that could be a new campaign for us, I think, on the channel, guys. Maybe we'll get some mugs printed off here. Have you seen Louis Miley? Absolutely, it's a great show. But let us know if you spot him wandering around Newcastle and Metro Centre. So just time to come back, get into the squad. Absolutely. Claire's in the comments there saying sometimes games are scrappy, but it's the points that's important. Absolutely, I think them points, massive points. 3 points is what we needed. Absolutely. Scrolling down here, Sensible Monica saying had to sit in the dark room for 5 minutes, then came out screaming and realized we'd won that. It was tense. It was tense. It really was. But those are the games that you have to win in a season to get yourself in good positions, lads. And I think lads and lasses, I think that's definitely what we need. Antagonizing saying off some food. Have a cracking weekend. Absolutely, you too, mate. I'll be going off to have some food in a minute as well. Absolutely. But I think we're pretty much wrapped up then, guys. So a quick half an hour post-match, as we say. Thank you so much to everybody in the comments who dropped a comment. It always helps this flow. It always really does. It helps us engage with you. We're not the kind of channel that ignores you. You take the time to comment. We take the time to reply. It's the best that we can do on this channel. And if you're new to the channel, as I mentioned, why not consider hanging around a bit longer? Click subscribe. Come and join us. We're over 5,100 subs. There is a membership scheme there as well. If you fancy a little bit of that, smash that below. It's $1.99 a month, so it's less than a meal deal from one of your major supermarkets, and it'll taste a lot better. I'm pretty sure of that, and it'll come back every single week. So why not click it and join it? You never know. It might be the best thing you've done, the best thing you've invested in that month. But that was great. We got 3 points, everybody. I'm buzzing with that. It's really put me in a great mood for the weekend. I'm sure it's put you guys in a great mood for the weekend as well. Me and Mark are going to be back on Monday with What's Going On, a very special What's Going On. It will be a match preview for our return to the Champions League on the Tuesday against AC Milan. So make sure you tune into that. We'll throw a few of the usual What's Going On crack in there as well. But it'll all be really about the Milan game, and I'm buzzing for that. It's absolutely brilliant. It's been a long time since we've been in the Champions League. I remember it from last time. A lot of you guys maybe don't. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Newcastle United at the San Siro. You can look as hard as you can, but you'll never see a Mackham there, ladies and gentlemen. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever you're doing. Fantastic to get 3 points. We're all in a good fell. See you later, everyone. Take it easy. Bye-bye.